You're listening to Mic Drop Moments, a podcast brought to you each week with me, your host, Sandra Garlick. During the podcast, I invite guests to share their amazing stories, knowledge and top tips, including their mic drop moments, especially for you. I also share my learning and inspiration about life, business growth and visibility. I'm delighted to bring the Mic Drop Moments podcast to you each week to inspire and motivate you to achieve. Enjoy the podcast and don't forget to leave a review. Mic Drop Moments is sponsored by Grow Radio. Want to launch your own podcast? Grow Radio are here to help. Grow Radio has launched and supported countless podcasts, and they'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and they'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released when you want. Need a little extra support? Grow Radio's workshops and courses make getting started easy. Let's bring your podcast to life. Message Grow Radio on social media. Let's make this happen. Welcome to this week's Mic Drop Moments podcast. This month we've been diving into the topic of well-being and self-care. And if you've been following along, you'll know that I've already shared a solo episode at the start of the month on how I plan my own well-being into my diary and some great top tips that you might want to think about to incorporate well-being and self-care into your days, weeks and months. But today I wanted to bring you something a little different. I've been talking this week to some incredible women in business about what self-care looks like for them behind the scenes in real life, and I can't wait for you to hear their tips and their rituals and everything they get up to protect their well-being and their self-care. And listening back to these conversations that I had, it was interesting, and what really struck me is how unique self-care looks to each and every one of us. We are all different, and I don't think you can take any well-being or self-care practice and say, you have to do this. What's right for me isn't probably going to be right for you, and what's right for someone else isn't right for me. We have to find what works for us. We have to find what makes us feel refreshed, renewed, and relaxed and recharged. And it was really interesting when I was listening to the interviews that I've conducted. And it is true, every single one is slightly different, but they all recognize how important well-being and self-care is to incorporate. And as I've said before, it's at the top of my agenda, and it is definitely not selfish. So let's dive into our first guest and their perspective. Do you want to tell us who you are and what you do?
My name is Nikki Talbot, and I'm the very proud founder of Pudding Pie.
What does Pudding and Pie do?
So Pudding and Pie, we teach children how to cook. They're captivating, they're cross-curricular, and so much more than cooking.
Sounds fantastic. And what do you do as a business owner for your well-being and self-care?
I actually take it really seriously, because not only do I have a team that are reliant on me, but I also have a family which also rely on me. So I do lots of things, Sandra. I love reading. I love getting out into nature and walking. And I'm really one of those weird people that love exercise. So as long as I'm doing those three things every single day, then I'm happy.
Sounds as if you've got it absolutely nailed. Thanks, Nikki.
No problem. Have a nice day.
I love how how Nikki just shared 3 simple things that are non-negotiable for her, and she incorporates into every day. And it's such a simple thing to do, but so powerful when you make it non-negotiable. It's a great reminder that self-care doesn't have to be elaborate, it doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It can even be a few quiet moments in your day that you fiercely protect. Let's hear what my next guest has to say. I'm here with Gulshen Bano. Gulshen, introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Hello everybody, I'm Gulshen Bano. I am owner and CEO of Strike Back Self-Defence for Women. We teach women and girls across the globe easy to learn self-defence skills.
And you're doing a little bit more than that right now, because you're actually teaching people how to teach self-defence.
Yes, we are. So we are growing our team of instructors. We now have 28 instructors and 13 franchises globally. So women everywhere teaching other women how to stay safe.
Now, you are global now, so that means you're doing a lot more. You're stretching yourself. What do you do for your well-being and self-care personally?
Wellbeing and self-care is so important, and I've learned that the hard way and got to a point where it was real burnout because I was so busy. So I do take a lot more consideration. For me, it's getting out of the business, spending time in nature, and spending time with friends who just are not business related, but we can just sit, gossip, catch up and have just a good fun and a laugh. So yeah, that's absolutely.
And that laughter is so important, isn't it? Having a really good laugh so your sides hurt, and you can do that with friends, can't you?
Absolutely. No business talk, just catching up with life, having a rant and laughing. That's really, really important.
Thanks, Gulshen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What
Gulshen said there is so important. Just recently, I went on a spa day with friends and we laughed, we had fun. We didn't talk about business. And I think it's so common when you're in business to only talk about business, because when we go to networking events, we talk about business. When we go out, we tend to talk about business. And I went to a social function really, and it turned into a business networking event. So sometimes we just need to drop the business talk and literally just talk about stuff and just have fun and laugh, and real laugh, so that your sides are hurting, and it's really good for you. It's a really good tonic, so a really important thing to incorporate. I'm absolutely loving these different styles of self-care and well-being that these women have just incorporated, and the fact that they all put them so high on their agenda, it really, really makes me feel absolutely great that we're nailing this, and so are you too. Let's go on to my next guest. I'm here with Dene. Dene, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us what you do, and then I'm going to ask you all about what you do for your wellbeing and self-care.
Okay, hi Sandra. I'm Dene Storr. I am a family celebrant at Not Your Average Ceremonies, and I love to create and craft bespoke, unique ceremonies that celebrate people's important moments.
And that's right from birth through to death, isn't it? It's right the way through. You do every single aspect of celebration.
Absolutely, yeah. It's every aspect needs to have a story told and celebrated. So yeah, we like to do it throughout the whole of the range from birth to death, as you say.
And what do you do for your self-care and well-being?
Yeah, self-care, well-being, we know how important it is. It's not selfish, it is necessary. So for me, I'm a wild water swimmer. So I go to the lake. It's a beautiful countryside location. You can just switch off. The temperatures can get a little bit cool. 1 degree is the lowest that I've been in, with a little bit of ice as well, which was incredible, believe it or not. Sound baths, I love sound baths. I find them so relaxing, and you can release so much sort of pent up energy or sort of feelings that you didn't know you had, and it's good to get rid of them. And then I live 10 minutes walk away from a beautiful woodland area, so whenever I get chance and take a break from my desk, I go and have a nice stretch and a nice walk in a lovely location.
It sounds as if you've got it absolutely nailed, Dene. So thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sandra.
Isn't it interesting how Dene talked about just going for a walk? That's something we can all do, even if it's just 5 minutes in our day. And what I'm hearing across these conversations is that self-care is often about boundaries, knowing when to switch off, knowing when to give ourselves permission to rest and do something different. But some of these things are so simple. Going for a walk, getting it out in the garden, just quite often I'll just take a 5 minute break every hour and just go outside, let the dog out and just go for a quick wander around the garden, just breathing in and taking in the atmosphere around me, especially if it's a sunny day. And I love my sunshine. Let's hear what our next guest has to say. Hi, Mandy. You want to introduce yourself first and then tell us what you do for your wellbeing and self-care?
Yes. Hi, Sandra. I'm Mandy Rees, and I am a coach and mentor for busy mums who are trying to do everything in their lives without exhausting themselves, burning out, and being overwhelmed.
So this is really important to you because of what you try and help everybody else with. So what do you do personally for your wellbeing and self-care?
The biggest thing for me is being outside. So I discovered running about 12 years ago, thinking that I would run because it would keep me fit and help me lose weight. But actually, it's the mental health aspects of running. So if I don't run once or twice a week, then I'm not a very nice person to be around. But for me, it's more the being outside, whether that's a run, a walk, sitting in my garden.
This is your last opportunity to enter the Woman Who Solopreneur Awards 2025. They're open to sole traders and sole directors based in the UK who are making those all-important business decisions alone. Entries close at midnight on Sunday, the 27th of July. Don't miss out. Simply visit womanwho.co.uk/awards. This is your opportunity to share your story, your achievements and your goals and aspirations for the future. Plus, entering awards is a fantastic way to boost your visibility and shine. Early bird tickets and sponsorship opportunities are also available. Now back to the podcast. And Mandy shared there how much running was important to her. Now, you'll never see me run, but it's the getting out, it's the discipline, it's the freeness of it, the getting out there, freeing up your mind, emptying your head. Now, you're not exactly going to be sitting with a notebook and writing and chatting on your phone when you're running. It's something, and it's those activities. Dee mentioned the wild water swimming. There's no way she can do anything but just relax her mind when she's doing an activity like that. So I think more and more important to find those things that fill our cup, as I said in my recent blog about this topic. We've got to find those things that work for us, those things that free our mind, free our soul, and get us into that relaxed and open state that we feel as if we're actually benefiting from it. Let's see what our next guests have to say. Okay, Hazel, tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and just introduce yourself. And then I'd like you to share what you do for your personal well-being and self-care.
Thank you so much, Sandra. So my name is Hazel Turner. My business name is Well Designed, and the name actually has a double meaning. An ex-colleague and editor friend created the name for me, and I knew it was right from the start, as well as wanting to deliver really high quality graphic assets for my clients, logo packages, websites, brochures, templates, whatever people need. I am also really interested in wellness and lifestyle markets, and quite often work with a lot of people in those areas because I naturally attract them. And yeah, self-care is really important to me. I haven't been sort of properly well health-wise for the last year. I was quite unwell with long COVID symptoms back in the autumn. So I'm just sort of starting to build things up. So alternative treatments have been so important in my recovery: hypnotherapy, homeopathy, osteopathy. And in terms of self-care, I'm actually going to a lovely sound bath this evening. I have a wonderful friend who does those every month, so I go to those. I regularly try and go to sort of retreats, anything to do with relaxation. There's a wonderful lady who has gorgeous in-person breathwork sessions, and I love those. And especially for my lungs from my resulting long COVID damage, that is so useful to me. And getting out in nature as well. I found it really hard in the autumn. Everybody was talking about being outside, walking around, kicking the autumn leaves, and I was at home feeling really sorry for myself and generally exhausted. So I'm so happy now. I've been able to get out a couple of times for a wild swim, which I really love as well. I find the water very cleansing, and yeah, so nice to be surrounded by nature too.
Right, thank you so much, Hazel. It sounds as if you've got self-care all wrapped up, and I'm sorry to hear about your long COVID, but it sounds as if you're putting those things in place to make sure that you've got your well-being at the top of the agenda right now. So thank you for
Yes,
sharing that.
definitely. Thank you.
Hi, Bex. If you'd like to tell us who you are and what you do, and then tell us what you do for your well-being and self-care personally.
Hi Sandra, I'm Bex Howe from How To Consultancy, and I work with schools, charities and organisations who support young people between the ages of 0 and 25. I have to be honest, this is an area I've quite significantly neglected in the past, particularly since setting up my business. You kind of forget yourself as the human as opposed to yourself as the businesswoman. But I'm now a woman of a certain age, and I have noticed that I do need to invest in myself. So in terms of the physical side, I recently booked a private MOT checkup because I felt I needed to know that everything was all right, and it was, which was wonderful. And I've also invested in a weight management program because I don't want to be this size anymore. So I'm not going to be this size anymore. So watch this space. And in terms of my mental health, I pray. I'm sort of a strong Christian, and I do find that taking some time out when things are getting particularly tricky, or I don't have the obvious, can't find the answers, I take some time and I just have my moment sort of praying and talking to God, but also talking to people I love that I've lost as well. And I find that absolutely grounds me, and it almost takes the problem away, because I just think, okay, whatever will be, someone else is in charge of this now.
It looks as if you're on track now to look after your health and your well-being and your self-care. And I think it's lovely how everybody has something very, very different that means something to them. And I think that's the key with well-being and self-care, is having something that's right for you. Not everything is right for everybody, and you've got to find what works for you. Thank you, Bex. Okay, hi Meeta. Would you like to introduce yourself and then tell us what you do for your well-being and self-care?
Hi Sandra, my name is Meeta. I'm a mental resilience speaker and a corporate wellbeing consultant. I'm also an integrative health coach, so personal wellbeing and self-care is my jam. I love talking about this. I love practicing this. If I had to say what I love doing for myself, it's probably coming inwards to me. I feel like everything that I do, I'm helping others, serving others. The world is really noisy, it's very chaotic, and so I just need to come back to me. And whether that's through a journaling practice before I go to bed, obviously a tapping practice that I do for myself where I'm not serving others, but also things like just a mindful cup of tea, or just looking out in nature. I think anything that brings me back to me just gives me a little bit of headspace, because otherwise I can feel really stimulated and I feel really foggy in my head. So yeah, coming back to me is probably the best thing that I can do for myself.
That's great to hear. Thank you for sharing that, Meeta. Hi Shanakay, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do and then what you do for your well-being and self-care?
Awesome. Thank you, Sandra. So my name is Shanakay and I am a business strategy coach. And I'm also the founder of the Boss Up Accelerator Club, which is a program designed for moms who want to launch their own coaching business around their corporate jobs or around family commitments. And I'm really passionate about this because that was me. I was a mom who wanted something different and felt limited by being a parent and being a present parent at that, and not being able to give 100% to any one task in my life. So I'm very passionate about helping moms to find that freedom and to create the life they want around being the best parent that they can be. So what do I do for my well-being is, number one, well-being for me is a non-negotiable. Self-care for me is non-negotiable. I've got a strict budget that goes towards self-care every single month. And for me, that looks like getting my nails done, getting my hair done. It's the little things, buying a new pair of shoes. I do love shoes. And there's also, I do practice as well, parts of bringing myself back to me when life gets overwhelming and all that kind of stuff, which means journaling every single morning. I find that quite therapeutic. So I'll sit there, write my thoughts out, and by the time I'm finished, I'm clear again. I'm like headspace again. So yeah, so it's all about making self-care for me non-negotiable. We work hard as parents, as coaches, as whatever your day job is, you work really hard. And I believe that I should be investing in myself and my own well-being and my own self-care so that I can continue to pour into others. There is a saying that I live by. It goes, what you tolerate is what you get. And that's a big thing for me when it comes to self-care and well-being. I'm very much conscious of, what am I tolerating around me? Am I setting my own standards where I want them to be? Or am I negotiating with people who are limiting me or putting me down? So I do tend to, as part of my self-care, put myself in the best spaces and the best rooms and spaces that I can thrive and grow in.
Thank
So
you.
that's me.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Shanakay. So you heard there from Hazel, Meeta and Shanakay, all slightly different, all different things that they've found. And then you heard from Bex that is only really starting her wellbeing and self-care journey. Everybody has found their own thing. Everybody's implementing their own thing, the things that work for them. And that is the key. And everyone's got their own version of the reset button. Some love time in nature, others swear by journaling, meditation, sound baths, tapping, shopping, whatever that is for you. You know, I've said it before, I'm a fan of mini spa breaks and things like that. But there's other things I do too, walking my dog, just taking time out to read, so many different things. And it's got to be what's right for you. And after a hectic few weeks, I know I need that space in my diary to recharge. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few quick reminders and tips that you can put into action right now. Remember, self-care is not selfish. It's how you sustain your energy and creativity. Schedule it like a meeting in your diary. That's what I do. I put it, it's a non-negotiable time for me. If it's not in your diary, it probably won't happen. Protect your boundaries. Say no to what drains you. I call it mood hoovers, but whatever's draining you, say no. And then you can say yes to what fills you. And remember, those little rituals matter. A cup of tea or coffee, or in my case, a coffee milkshake in peace, a walk in the fresh air or in the garden, or listening to your favourite playlist. Something like that, just something simple, can reset your whole mood, and it does wonders for your productivity. So why not set an alarm for a 10-minute pause on your day? I've already said every hour I take a 5-minute break at least. Step outside, stretch, breathe, whatever works for you. Batch your busy tasks so that you'll free up time for yourself. By batching things up, what I mean is doing things that are similar. I talk about doing my podcast recording in blocks, so I'm in flow, so I'm recording one after another. I go into Canva and do my creating at the same time. I don't dip in and out. I go in and I spend time in there. It makes it easier. You're in flow. And then book your time out with yourself in advance. Get it in the diary, just like I did with my spa break, like I do with my holidays, and like I do with everything else. It goes in the diary first. So it's a non-negotiable date with yourself. Most importantly, remember this: your well-being fuels your business, your family, and your dreams. Take care of you first, and everything else just flows from there. I'd love to hear what your favourite well-being or self-care ritual is. Share it with me in the Let's Get Visible Facebook group, or tag me on socials so I can cheer you on. Thank you for listening. I'll be back next week with another episode of Mic Drop Moments. Thank you for listening to the Mic Drop Moments podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next week for more inspiration, learning, and top tips. Want to work with me on your business growth and strategy, speaking, or simply growing your audience? Just get in touch. Visit womanwho.co.uk to find out how you can start your speaking and visibility journey, or even feature on a future podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's podcast. And if there are any topics you would like to hear, just get in touch with me, your host, Sandra Garlick.